plus 3 is 6,
Is
but
6.
then you can equivalent to 60. And then 3 plus
Even
1
though I'm
is
40.
For decades, Simon Cowell has been one of the most recognizable figures on television. The man who gave a global stage to the voiceless and turned raw dreams into stardom. Yet behind the sharp suits and sharper tongue lies a story few have heard. A life forged in rejection, loss, and redemption. His journey from an overlooked mailroom clerk to a cultural architect wasn't born out of privilege, but from a deep hunger to be seen, to matter, and to build something that would outlast applause. A childhood without applause. Born in 1959 in London, Simon's early years were not defined by glitter or grandeur, but by a quiet ache that shaped everything to come. His father, Eric Cowell, a disciplined music executive, was ambitious and exacting. His mother, Julie Brett, a graceful former ballet dancer, brought charm but little emotional warmth. In interviews, Simon once confessed that his father never told him he was proud, a silence that echoed for decades. At school, he was restless, rebellious, often written off as unremarkable. When grades fell short and expectations collapsed, he learned early what it meant to disappoint. Beneath the sarcasm that would later define his public persona was a boy who had never heard the simple words every child longs for. You did well. The invisible mailroom clerk. By his late teens, Simon found himself in the mailroom at EMA Music, not as an artist or producer, but as a clerk carrying coffee for men who never remembered his name. He often said that time in the mailroom was when he truly understood invisibility. Surrounded by stars and executives, he learned what power looked like and what it meant to have none. Each letter he sorted became a silent reminder that talent alone doesn't create opportunity. Persistence does. Though humiliation haunted him, Simon was quietly studying the architecture of fame, observing what made one person shine and another fade into obscurity. Those early years weren't glamorous, but they were formative. The boy who felt unseen was learning how the world decides who gets to be seen at all. The fall before the rise. In the early 1980s, Simon dared to break free. With a partner, he launched Fanfare Records, a small label that briefly tasted success with upbeat pop singles. For a moment, the invisible boy had become visible, hosting parties, shaking hands, basking in the illusion of arrival. But success in the music industry is a fickle friend. Within a few years, trends shifted, hits dried up, and debts mounted. The company collapsed, leaving Simon broke and broken. He returned to his parents' home, to the same childhood room that had once echoed with loneliness. He later admitted those nights were filled with tears and fear that his life had already peaked. Yet in that silence, the fire that would define him reignited. Failure didn't end him, it refined him. What had been humiliation became education, the lesson of the masses. Rebuilding from bankruptcy in the 1990s, Simon returned to the industry with a new philosophy. Listen to the audience, not the critics. Working at BMG, he began signing acts that insiders mocked, but fans adored. Pop groups like Westlife, Five, and Robson and Jerome. Industry purists sneered, but Simon's instincts proved golden. These artists sold millions of records, and for the first time, Simon realized that success didn't require approval from elites, only a connection with ordinary people. That lesson became his compass. Talent wasn't about perfection, it was about resonance. He was no longer chasing validation. He was building an empire on intuition, risk, and the courage to defy convention. When the judge became the star. In 2001, the world met a new Simon Cowell, not behind the scenes, but front and center on television with Pop Idol. When American Idol followed in 2002, Simon's transformation was complete. Millions tuned in each week, not just to cheer for hopeful singers, but to hear his verdicts, blunt, sometimes brutal, always honest. What others called cruelty, audiences recognized as truth. His raised eyebrow and cutting one-liners became pop culture legend. For the first time, the gatekeeper had become the star. Yet behind the wit was a deep understanding of human desire. Every contestant wanted the validation he had once been denied. Simon knew exactly how that felt, and how to turn it into television magic. The loss that changed everything. In 2015, Simon faced another heartbreak, the passing of his mother, Julie Brett, at 89. She'd been the silent constant in his turbulent journey, and losing her reopened every childhood scar. Work halted, filming paused. He retreated into grief that stripped away his public armor. Combined with the earlier loss of his father, Eric, years before, the pain cut deeply. He once said, "Losing my mom was the hardest thing I've ever gone through." The silence afterward was unbearable for a man whose life had been noise, applause, cameras, chaos. That silence was deafening, but it also became the space where reflection began. From grief, he discovered gratitude. The experience changed how he spoke, how he worked, and how he viewed success. For the first time, Simon Cowell slowed down. The fall that nearly ended it, all in 2020, tragedy struck again. Testing a new electric bike at his Malibu home, Simon was thrown violently to the ground, shattering his back in multiple places. Hours of surgery and months of recovery followed. For someone whose life had always been defined by control, the helplessness was unbearable. Yet even in pain, he found perspective. He thought of his son, Eric, and fought his way back to standing. Each step in rehab was a victory of spirit over fear. 2 years later, a second accident reopened old wounds. But instead of defeat, it brought humility. "It changed me in every possible way," he admitted. The accidents became metaphors for his entire life. Falling, breaking, rising, and continuing with scars that now told the truth more honestly than any headline ever could. The man behind the mirror. By 2021, Simon faced another mirror. Literally. Years of cosmetic treatments had left him unrecognizable even to himself. The man who once commanded television now became the target of public ridicule. Headlines mocked his appearance. Memes flooded social media. For the first time, the world saw the judge become the judged. But Simon responded not with anger, but reflection. "I went too far," he admitted. "I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself." That realization marked a quiet awakening. He stopped all procedures, embracing age and imperfection with newfound peace. His reemergence, lined, gray, genuine, was greeted with respect. For the first time, the world saw not the untouchable mogul, but the human being beneath. His story stopped being about control and started being about acceptance. The death that broke the silence. In 2024, when Simon was beginning to enjoy a gentler chapter of life, tragedy struck again. Liam Payne, once a nervous teenager Simon had believed in and placed into one direction, passed away unexpectedly at 31. The news devastated millions, but for Simon it was deeply personal. He saw Liam not as a contestant, but as family. In private, Simon grieved quietly, choosing reflection over publicity. Friends said he spent nights watching old audition tapes, listening to the laughter of youth now gone. Liam's loss reminded him of life's cruel brevity, the fragility of fame, and the futility of control. It changed how he spoke, how he parented, how he lived. He began holding Eric closer, cherishing moments that once would have slipped away. The boy who built careers had learned the hardest truth, that not all stories get a second act. The new Simon Cowell. By 2025, Simon Cowell is no longer the ruthless icon who once terrified contestants across continents. He's a man who's endured failure, scandal, grief, and survival, and come through with humility. At 65, he remains active on Got Talent, but the tone is different. His words carry kindness, his critiques come with guidance. The once impatient perfectionist now values imperfection as proof of humanity. At home in Beverly Hills, he leads a slower, deliberate life. Pilates each morning for his back, quiet dinners with family, long walks by the ocean. His wealth remains vast, but his priorities have shifted. He plans to leave most of his fortune to children's charities and creative education funds. "I don't want Eric to inherit money," he explains. "I want him to inherit values." For Simon, legacy is no longer measured in ratings, but in impact. A legacy of empathy today, Simon's scars, both visible and invisible, tell a story richer than any television finale. He has known humiliation and applause, ridicule and redemption. The man who once built empires from other people's dreams now builds opportunities for children who have none. The harsh judge of talent shows has become a mentor, a father, a philanthropist. The sharpness remains, but it is tempered with warmth, the same warmth he once spent a lifetime chasing. His journey reminds us that success without peace is hollow, that forgiveness can heal even self-inflicted wounds, and that empathy is the truest form of strength. The final reflection, Simon Cowell's story isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. He fell, he broke, he rebuilt, not for fame, but for meaning. From the lonely boy in the mailroom to the global titan humbled by pain, every chapter speaks to one truth. Greatness isn't measured by how loudly the world applauds you, but by how quietly you rise when it falls silent. His life, with all its brilliance and blemishes, stands as a mirror for anyone chasing their dreams. A reminder that the greatest legacy isn't empire, but empathy. Not control, but connection. Not fame, but the courage to be real.